Hi, my name is Phil. I'd like to talk about politics. So Elon Musk's call for people to unleash a tide of violence in the UK seems to have split along party lines. Reform UK and the Conservatives seemingly approve, or at least support his statement. Lib Dems and Labour calling it dangerous. But why? Why is it a matter of political positioning? There was a time, not really that long ago, when a foreign drug addict calling for violent civil disorder on a grand scale would have been universally condemned. Why is this now not a universal political position? But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So let's kick off with two politicians, one from Reform UK, one from the Conservatives to begin with. We'll start with Reform UK. Despite the fact that Nigel Farage seemed happy to be a little disparaging about Elon Musk himself this weekend, he certainly distanced himself a little from the comments. Andrea Jenkins was on the telly saying how great Musk's speech was. Then, when asked about the part where he incited violence, she said, "Oh, I didn't personally listen to the speech." So she's praising a speech that she hasn't heard. Now, you may think, well, hang on a minute, Phil. She doesn't have to have heard the speech to approve. She can have just read the transcript, right? Read an article on it. Yeah, true enough. But she obviously hasn't done that either, because when asked specifically about his call to violence, Jenkins felt the need to claim ignorance of the details of what he said. So she's offering her enthusiastic support for what he said, despite not actually knowing what he said. And also knowing that Musk is attacking her party and cult leader and promoting a would-be rival. Is she trying to prove that Nadine Dorries isn't the thickest luminary in her party or something? And do Reform UK really have their position nailed down here? Like I say, Farage distanced himself a little bit. He's explicitly distanced himself from Tommy Robinson, as well as his entire movement. So, of course, he has to distance himself from the Saturday March in many ways. Jenkins has just praised the biggest part of that stage act without even knowing what exactly she was praising. I mean, I've said before, I think the appeal of former Tories to Farage is that he gets people who have some political discipline. They're not going to embarrass his campaign. He may need to be a little bit more discerning on this evidence. But if Jenkins comes across as thick, Badenoch just tied herself in knots over the issue. So she was being put under pressure on LBC to explain why she was supporting incitement to violence, because she wouldn't criticise what Musk had said. She was desperate to not attack Musk, whilst also not wanting to seem like she was supporting incitement. So how did she do that? Well, she denied that he had called for violence. But this is word for word what Musk said. Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. Those are his exact words. Now, Farage, he was trying to downplay it, and he was asking questions. Well, it depends what he means by fight. Look, Musk has, I'll read it again. Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or die. So he's used the word violence twice and then followed it up with a fight back or die. So in isolation, a statement saying you have to fight back or die could be metaphorical. It could be you just need to stand up, and be countered. Otherwise, your way of life dies, right? It doesn't mean physically fight and die. But when you have specifically been prefacing that statement with talk of violence, and that violence is going to happen whether you want it to or not, the fight back or die is literal. And those are his exact words. That is not open to very wide interpretation. The only area of speculation was who the target audience for his words were. But given that he was talking knowingly to tens of thousands of pissed up racist football hooligans, I think I can hazard a guess. And for me, this is, in a sense, dumber than Jenkins. See, maybe Reform UK think they can win Musk around to them on pragmatic grounds, get to the next election. Look, Elon, mate, I know you prefer the more extreme advanced UK, but they're nowhere, mate. They're not even going to win a single seat. We could form a government, you could make that happen, right? I get that. But the Tories have got no chance of winning him over. The Tories are not going to have Musk on their side. They are neither the extreme version of the right wing, nor are they even the pragmatic choice at the next election. Reform UK might well win more seats than the Tories, and at this point in time, they certainly have more scope to do so. Like, Badenoch even tried to claim she wanted to diffuse the situation. So she's openly saying, I don't want violent rhetoric. So why not disown comments which do the opposite of diffusing the situation then? I mean, if even Labour could do that, and they've got a way more complicated balancing act to perform in government, why couldn't Badenoch? Why is she incapable of adopting any position which is different to that of Reform UK? In contrast, the Lib Dems Ed Davey wrote to various party leaders calling for a united condemnation of the behaviour. I think it's fair to say he probably won't be getting Farage or Badenoch's support. But it seems Labour are happy to stand with his general position here. I'll be honest, with Trump's impending visit, as in the country today, I was a little surprised just how forthright Labour were on Sunday and then again on Monday. You know, there was that strong statement from Starmer about the far right in general on Sunday, albeit it wasn't a quick response, but then from him it often isn't. But then the much more combative stance on Monday, that was interesting. They carried it on. Downing Street described Musk's intervention specifically as dangerous and inflammatory language and said that they don't think the British public will have much truck with it. Whereas Streeting, quite often Starmer's attack dog on certain issues, then went out to spread the message more publicly. You know, maybe Labour are now seized of the need to draw some battle lines here. They've attempted to avoid being agents of disunity in the country, right? And yes, you don't want to come across as divisive. But I would say there is a difference between being divisive and combative. As long as you clearly define your opponents, you don't make an enemy of half the country. And you make those opponents the named ringleaders of this carefully choreographed far-right hate, and you obviously avoid treading on White House toes, right? Then Labour can absolutely take a stand here. I've seen evidence of a spate of racist graffiti being daubed on streets in various places over the past few days. This is like 2016 when racially aggravated crimes increased because the racists who'd been laying low suddenly thought, after the Brexit referendum, oh, we're more mainstream than we thought, and they acted like it. Same here. The racists are becoming convinced that they are normal and the rest of us are weirdos. It's emboldening them. And this is where I have conflicting views on what Labour can do about it. On the one hand, do I believe that Labour are even partly responsible for this? No. If it was as simple as Keir Starmer telling the public to stop being racist, or at least more openly promote multiculturalism in a way that, for example, Sadiq Khan is, and then the public acted accordingly, if he had that much credibility with the public, he would not be doing so badly in the polls. So Keir Starmer's making a stand on this. Is it going to change people's minds in the public? No. The idea that Starmer has some power of persuasion is an absolute nonsense. The evidence is very clear there. However, just as there were always racists in the country, even when we were becoming more tolerant, I don't think it was that people were becoming more tolerant. I think society was. So the racists tended to proceed with a bit of caution because they knew they were in the minority. Now they think they're mainstream. Well, so too there are lots of anti-racists who just need a banner to flock around. Goodness knows it's not going to come from one of the disparate warring tribes on the liberal left. Even now, when the far right are in the ascendancy, are the left coming together? Oh, we bollocks, we're fighting one another, worse than ever, I think. But Starmer as Prime Minister could act as a lightning rod. He might be able to unite people against the far right if he decided to do more than just issue a few strong words of condemnation after the event, but if he led a consistent campaign to defend some common values. Of course, it might mean relegating Blue Labour a bit. But when the thugs say, we want our country back, the country they describe has never existed, ever. But there was a Britain not that long ago, which was becoming more tolerant, more pleasant, more connected in the world. That's the country I want back. That's a country which actually existed and could exist again. It'd be nice if enough of the people who also want it back can see the real enemies here and work together. Other differences aside, to actually win for once. And perhaps Musk could be the catalyst which wakes us up to the threat here and forces us to concentrate on the goals which matter, not the middle-class bullshit that often renders progressives impotent. And maybe Starmer could help lead that. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.